Well, the current outlook for the forecast for the next 3 months is pretty neutral. Looking at a lot of the climate models, they're sort of sitting on neutral, close to average. So when we look at the Bureau's forecast, that means that everything from decile 1 through to decile 10 are in the mix. So there's no strong drivers currently at play, so we've got to plan for anything. But stay tuned, it's a hard time of the year. Those oceans are still really setting up for what they're going to do later in the winter and spring. So all eyes are on the equator in the coming months. Probably in the last 20 years there's been more dry years than wetter ones in the GMID. Part of that's to do with I guess an increasing pressure pattern over parts of southern Australia, so there's a lot of regions that are experiencing that. The other thing that's a bit different in terms of trends is we've got sort of warmer temperatures have crept into our pattern in the past few decades. So certainly the last decade's been the warmest of the last 100 years. So basically we're squeezing in an extra month of summer, so that summer season is getting bigger. So that's a bit different to just normal variability. Those broader trends of our seasons will vary a lot depending on what those two big oceans are up to and how much moisture they're sending us, the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean. So while the Indian Ocean was in its drier phase the last 2 years, we know that 2016, the Indian Ocean was in its wetter phase. So it'll still be fluctuating around there. So that's why it's worth keeping an eye on seasonal forecasts. We also know that trend of the increasing pressure pattern, which will squeeze out the odd rainfall event in southern Australia and in Victoria, that's likely to continue. That's a part of what they're expecting with climate change. And those temperature trends are expected to continue as well. So the summer season is going to get bigger. They break up in that part of the world normally sort of mid to late May when it normally forms. At the moment there's some good moisture sources around, especially in the Coral Sea. If we get the right connection we can pick up a good sort of season opening event, but it's pretty sort of random. It's really going to come down to weather events. Seasonal forecasts tend to be a lot more reliable when we get into winter and spring, and that's when we have a lot more regular events. And if there's something either wet or dry shaking up, then that's probably when we spend more time looking at forecasts.